Ever feel like some people just, I don't know, have this knack for getting what they want? Like
Hmm.
they've got this sixth sense for navigating, well, power dynamics, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Today, we're diving into a book that really digs into that, and it's called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
And it's a fascinating read.
Oh, it
But
is.
I will say it's not your typical, be a good leader kind of book.
No, not at all.
It's more about understanding the kind of almost like the unspoken rules of how power actually works.
Right, exactly. And look, we're not saying these so-called laws are like the ethical playbook,
Right.
but honestly, who hasn't been in a situation where someone seemed to be playing by a different set of
Oh,
rules
that's
and coming out on top because of it?
absolutely.
Green just lays it all out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And he uses these historical examples. Like he'll pull from ancient Rome, Renaissance Italy, even like ancient China.
Yeah.
And it really brings these laws to life. It's not just theoretical.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I see how this has played out for like centuries. And it's still happening now.
Hmm.
Like when I was reading Law 2, never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies.
Yeah, that one always raises some eyebrows.
I mean, at first I was like, whoa, hold on. But then I remembered this one time at work where, someone I barely knew actually spoke up in support of my idea,
Okay.
and someone I considered a friend, like a close friend, just, I don't know, they didn't say anything.
Oh, interesting.
And it made me think, maybe there's something to this whole like friends and enemies dynamic that's not so simple.
Yeah, and I think that's Green's point. It's not about being paranoid or assuming everyone's out to get you,
Right.
but it's about recognizing that, sometimes the people who are closest to us, they're also the most threatened by our success. Like there could be envy, competition, all sorts of things.
Oh, for sure.
Whereas someone who's already kind of declared themselves as, not on your side,
Yeah.
you kind of know where they stand. You can anticipate their moves a little bit better.
It's like you're saying, don't write people off just because they disagree with you.
Exactly.
They might actually be more upfront, than someone who's pretending to be on your side, but secretly maybe isn't.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And, this idea of using your enemies to your advantage. Green gives this great example from 16th century China.
Oh, yeah. What was that one?
So there's this prince, right, who's been exiled. And instead of trying to, lay low, he starts doing all these things that make him look even more suspicious. Like he was giving these lavish gifts, almost as if he was trying to bribe his way back into power.
Bold move.
Right. But here's the thing. His enemy, the emperor, he was already so paranoid that he saw this as confirmation of the prince's disloyalty. So he banished the prince even further away, which actually played right into the prince's hands because his real plan all along was to escape.
Wow. See, that's what I love about this book. It's like these historical examples. They just make you realize how much strategy goes into, well, just about every human interaction.
Yeah, it's about understanding the angles.
Exactly. Okay, so that was just one law, right? Law 2.
Yeah.
And there's 47 more where that came from. What's another one that really stood out to you?
Let's see. How about Law 12? Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim.
Okay, so that sounds a little different, maybe even the opposite of what we were just talking about.
Right, and that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not about being purely manipulative. It's about being strategic.
So, like, using honesty as a strategy, not just, being honest because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly. So imagine you're selectively honest with an enemy. Maybe you confirm a suspicion they have about you, knowing it plays into their existing narrative. It's disarming.
Makes you seem more trustworthy because you're confirming what they already believe.
Exactly. And then at the same time, you're being genuinely generous to potential allies, building trust and goodwill where it matters.
Okay, so it's not about being ruthless.
No, not at all. It's about playing the long game.
It's like chess, right?
It's exactly thinking several moves ahead.
And that's, I think, what's so valuable about understanding these laws. It's not about becoming some kind of, Machiavellian mastermind. It's about self-awareness, understanding the dynamics of a situation, and making informed decisions.
It's about knowing what game you're playing.
Exactly.
So for someone listening to this, maybe thinking, okay, this is a lot to take in, what would you say is the most important takeaway?
Awareness.
Hmm.
Just being aware of these laws, even if you don't consciously use them, it gives you an edge. Because you can start to see these patterns playing out in your own life, at work, in your relationships, everywhere.
Yeah, and it's not about becoming cynical.
No, not at all. It's about being informed.
So the next time you're in a situation and maybe it feels a little off or
Yeah.
you're not sure why someone's acting the way they are,
Think about Robert Greene.
it might just change how you approach things.
I think that's a good place to leave it for today. Join us next time for another deep dive.